I'm not gonna lie, it took me quite a while to figure out how to pronounce Champignon, but I am very grateful to them for sending me over this investor deck, and I'd love to review it for you. Special shout out to my Reddit friends who requested this. Here you go. Champignon Brands is a research driven company specializing in the formulation of mushroom infused CPGs that promote holistic health and wellness with the ticker symbol SHRM. We're going to bypass the disclaimer. Feel free to pause if you want to give it a read. About us. Champignon Brands is a Canadian based company dedicated to the cultivation, distribution, and proliferation of artisanal medicinal mushrooms and associated CPGs. The Champignon team believes that we can enhance the health and wellness of millions of customers through organic growing practices, commercial cultivation, R&D, and the distribution of our premium mushroom-infused suite of products. Champignon's mushroom-derived CPG portfolio includes our flagship brand, Vitality Super Teas. Our Vitality Super Teas SKUs are formulated with the goal of revolutionizing conventional organic tea through the infusion of a proprietary blend of artisanal mushrooms with medicinal properties. We assemble a roster of health professionals and food scientists boasting expertise in the realms of nutrition, naturopathy, and biochemistry, with the objective of combining the premium organic tea blends with some of the world's most powerful superfoods. Champignon's CPG portfolio is inspired by sustainability, and all of our products are organic, non GMO, and vegan certified. Our brand Vitality Super Teas currently is producing three different flavors or blends, it seems: Lion's Mane, Topical Green Ginseng Green Tea, Nourish Force Super Tea, Rishi Ryobus Tea Mix. I'm totally butchering these names. I apologize. Mighty Recharge Super Tea. Oh God, here we go. Cordial Hibiscus Blend with Berries Tea Mix. And each blend has a specific mushroom compound that is supposed to enhance brain function, for example, with lion's mane. Um, the bio cordial hibiscus, the blend of that mushroom is supposed to be for focus. So, there's a little bit of something for everybody. Our brand's Vitality Super Teas distribution strategy is through e commerce platforms, which looks like they're using Shopify, as well as social media influencer marketing via Facebook, Instagram, and I'm sure other means that have not been posted, as well as flagship brick and mortar distributor Drip Coffee. So these social houses, there's not a lot of them out yet. There's one on Vancouver Island, a couple in Vancouver, and some in Toronto. But I'm sure as the brick and mortar stores expand their footprint, the distribution of Champignon and Vitality brands will grow with them. Our brand's Vitality Super Teas R&D product formulation partnership. Before I read this, I've actually had this mushroom infused cold brew coffee. It is like drinking, I guess if I could put into words the effect that you have from it, it's like drinking a mocha monster. It and it works real well, but it's a little more natural, so I can see the draw or the appeal. Champignon Brands and Drip Coffee Social have entered into R&D and product formulation partnership where Drip will infuse Champignon's proprietary mushroom extract blend into a suite of cold brew coffee products and signature in-house formulations. The functional mushroom market revenue in US dollars from 2016 to 2024, starting in 2016 at 18 million, is expected to grow to 34 million by 2024, and we are only 4 years out from that projection. So the global functional food market of Champignon is looking to penetrate, expected to reach US dollars 34 million or 34.3 billion by 2024, registering a CAGR of 8.04% during this forecasted period of 2019 to 2024. I should state that it says 2019 because this investor deck is from the fall, so it's not that old, but it will say 2019. The market studied is expected to experience exponential demand of growth for both reishi and cordyceps. Oh, god damn it. Cordyceps. We'll just call them cords. Consumption. I tell you, these investor decks. Psychedelic as medicine. Schedule 1 drugs, aka psychedelics, ibogaine, ketamine, psilocybin, 5-MDMT, DMT, LSD, aka acid, MDMA or ecstasy as it's known, and mescaline, all transformative medicines with historical data and new scientific studies suggest therapeutic benefits of psychedelics in many areas, including drug addiction, migraines, alcoholism, PTSD, depression, and helping you to quit smoking. A renaissance in alternative medicines is emerging, as many articles state, from Bay Street to Wall Street, that psychedelics events are going mainstream, where the much maligned mushroom industry focuses on mental health, among others, such as LSD and MDMA. Trying not to get too tongue tied here. 2020 stealth IP strategy. So they don't have a lot of information on their strategy, but from the 4 points here that they make, alternative medication IP integration, they're looking to maybe purchase or acquire through acquisitions intellectual property to integrate into their company, drafting of benchmark SOPs, development of CGMP formulations of bioactive compounds extracted from plants and fungi. Now, this CGMP is that they are trying to acquire the ability to gain access to psychoactive substances like psilocybin. Patient aggregation focusing on veterans. So it seems that their main focus, once they can get that GMP certification, is the veteran community, which, to be honest, I don't think anyone else has really focused on that beyond maybe PTSD. So good for them. Defining a new asset class, psychedelic inspired medicines. In Q3 of 2020, Champignon plans to advance its pursuit of treatments underpinned by psychedelic substances through clinical trials, assembling the most compelling IP portfolio, clinical pipeline, and drug development platform in the psychedelic space. From non-hallucinogenic medicines to hallucinogenic therapies, including high-dose LSD and psilocybin for presumably ADHD or depression, depending on what they get approval on, and in the non-hallucinogenic, microdosing LSD or psilocybin and MDMA for assuming PTSD or any other traumatic past experiences. Mental illness is a major problem according to the World Health Organization. 25% of the world's populace is the world will be afflicted by mental health and or neurological disorders throughout their lives. Presently, approximately 450 million people currently suffer from such conditions, placing mental disorders among the leading cause of ill health, productive loss, and disability worldwide. The mental health arena has been frequently neglected for the past 30 years. I agree. Through new research, the beginning to further reinforce that psychedelic compounds have the potential to produce more effective treatments than what is currently available. Psychedelics can be highly effective for depression. Depression decreases after psilocybin treatment from a 1 week to 3 month period in a microdose form, from severe depression to mild depression. For addiction, on a 1 to 36 week basis, and for general well being, increased current personal well being, or life satisfaction. And I've seen a lot of studies where people will take maybe 5 milligrams of psilocybin for a period of 4 to 8 days and quit for 1 to 6 months until they feel they need it again, just to keep them leveled out. And it's not meant to be a permanent solution, but definitely effective. Calculating the toll of trauma, PTSD, and beyond. 2.2% of the population, or 7.7 million people, 7 out of 10, or pardon me, 7 to 8 out of every 100 people of this population will be afflicted. Recent public studies have demonstrated the safety and efficiency of psilocybin, MDMA, ketamine when administered in a medically supervised and monitored approach. The alternative to medicine renaissance may help remedy profound depression, demoralization associated, God, I'm getting some mush mouth here, with terminal illness and anxiety related to post traumatic stress disorder, aka PTSD. Alternative medicine is no longer a fringe topic, with thought leaders like Peter Thiel, who we may recognize from Atia Life Sciences and Compass Pathways, and Tim Ferriss. He has taken part in other companies like Small Pharma. I'm unfamiliar with how far they are in their ketamine research, but lots of research from John Hopkins, among other universities, and as well MAPS up here in Canada. What is psilocybin? Psilocybin is the active molecule found in the magic mushroom, synthesized by Sandoz in 1958 and authorized for psychiatric research. Clinical trials in the 60s and 70s suggested promising role for psilocybin and other psychedelics, including mood disorders and addiction. Over the last years, there has been, a resurgence in psilocybin research, with several clinical trials completed underway by researchers at Johns Hopkins, NYU, Imperial, UCLA, and the University of Zurich. And a lot of these clinical studies and trials did go dormant due to the fact that they are federally illegal. But this is what's happening in the industry is companies like MindMed, Compass Pathways, they're going in, purchasing the intellectual properties developed from these studies and incorporating them in a legal manner, whether it is through offshore gray area research like Cuba or Jamaica, or government funded, FDA approved research like MindMed and their LSD and ibogaine derivatives. Psilocybin pathways. Champignon plans to successfully biosynthesize, Jesus, these are some words to tongue tie, psilocybin within the first 3 months of conducting laboratory experiments, with the objective of achieving optimized and scaled production of pharmaceutical grade psilocybin for deployment in clinical settings. Psilocybin mentions from 1958 to 2019, indexed by PubMed, is quite parabolic, with a 1,445% increase. And I have a feeling that as the next few years go on and legalization or pharmaceuticalization become more prominent in the psychedelic space, that number will only increase. Multiple paths to acceptance. Ballot initiatives via voting. Denver, Oakland have passed ballots decriminalizing psilocybin. It is expected that Berkeley will decriminalize psilocybin as well in 2020, this year. Oregon may be voting on Psilocybin Services Act. That would be in effect with the clinics that they plan to open up. And Section 7, Charter Challenge Canada for access to cannabis for medical purposes. We don't care about cannabis right now. That's not interesting. To permit medical use of psilocybin, the similarity of cannabis lends credence to such a challenge of being successful. 56 of Controlled Drug Substance Act grants Health Canada the right to give exemptions to controlled substances which we see a lot in some of the companies that are starting to grow, like Compass and MindMed, as mentioned earlier, gaining these accesses through FDA or Health Canada approvals, which are leading to clinical trials, most of which are either in phase 2 or starting phase 3, depending on the psychedelic of choice we are talking about. This is the only part of the deck that I personally don't like, is when they get into this. They're not using anything that they've developed. They're simply pointing out the successes of other companies, like the Beckley Foundation, which was purchased and became part of Canopy Growth, I believe in mid to late 2018. I'll read this, but you'll see as I go further into the deck that they stray further away from their company, focusing on mentioning other company and other companies' achievements. The Beckley Foundation is a UK-based think tank and unaccredited NGO dedicated to activating global drug policy reform and initiating scientific research into psychoactive substances. There is an urgent need to develop new treatments for mankind's most traceable illnesses and the reemergence of decades-old clinical trials on psychedelics and MDMA, together with the new brain imaging evidence, points to the considerable clinical potential of these long-banned substances. Psychedelic medicine is creating a foothold in the scientific society. Preliminary studies from the prominent institutions such as Imperial College, of London, University of Zurich, Johns Hopkins, NYU, and UCLA have indicated that psilocybin-assisted therapy could be a revolutionary treatment for tobacco and alcohol addiction, depression and anxiety in cancer patients, and general depression overall. The FDA has granted breakthrough therapy status to further the study of psilocybin-assisted remedies to counteract treatment-resistant depression. And I'm just going to point out that there is a spelling mistake in this investor deck, which does not look very professional to me, but that is neither here nor there. And the FDA granted that they're referring to is Compass Pathways. Comparables. Compassion or Compass Pathways, Atia Life Sciences, MindMed, Champignon Brands, Field Trip, and Diamond Therapeutics. I am not familiar with Diamond Therapeutics, and I don't think that there's a lot of comparison between Champignon at the moment. I believe that they are just trying to play catch up, but this is my opinion, and feel free to message me and let me know what you think or how you feel about the company moving forward. Shares issued and outstanding 38 million, just a little over, with warrants outstanding just over 6 million. Broker-led IPO of 2.85 closed February 2020, and it's done quite well, especially with the boom from MindMed, which I was quite surprised at. Mr. Gareth Birdsell, CEO of Corporate Security and Director. Mr. Garrett boasts over 7 years of experience working in the diverse agricultural roles, including irrigation installation, turf maintenance, and vegetation management. Okay. An attendee of the British Columbia Institute of Technology, Gareth studied marketing management. Mr. Stephen Broman, the CFO of the company, or Chief Financial Officer, has 10 years plus of working experience in a variety of roles with public and private companies and has become experienced in corporate finance, project acquisition, executive management, corporate communications, and corporate branding. So we get a good idea of kind of the bones of this company. I believe they have a ways to go, but some of the stuff looks promising. I personally am not going to take a position because at the moment they do not actually have any personal IP, although they may leverage their stock now that they're public to acquire intellectual property and maybe phase 1, phase 2 studies that they can purchase from companies with less capital than themselves. The leadership is pretty straightforward. I can post a link to the LinkedIn and you can take a look on the YouTube bio. But that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown of this investor deck, and let me know what you guys think. How do you feel about Champignon Brands, and where do you see its future? I personally am sticking with the pharmaceutical aspect of this industry via MindMed and Compass. Uh, but you never know. You got to vote for the underdog. Well, we're going to say peace on this and have an excellent day, everybody. Ciao.